Good evening, and welcome to the Women Leaders Walk the Talk. I like to say this is a vibrant space that's dedicated to amplifying the voice of women leaders. And I like to say even trailblazing women leaders. And my guests might be looking like, you talking about me? Yeah, I'm talking about you all. I'm talking about each and every one of you on here with me tonight. But I like for us to be able to amplify the voice of women leaders. I'm Kristen Webb, as I mentioned, your host, and today we are going to dive into the world of finance. It is January. It's the top of 2024. I don't know about you, but I started looking at my budget come 2024. I really probably should have been looking at the end of 2023, but at the top of the year, we start thinking about money. We start thinking about investing. We start thinking about how we can better position ourselves. And I just thought it was appropriate to come on when we think about those things, but also when we think about women and women leaders and how we impact the space. I was like, I need to hear from three dynamic ladies and women so that we can continue to amplify the voice of women in the finance space as well. And so that's what we're going to talk tonight. So why women leaders walk the talk? Again, to be able to amplify the voice of women leaders across the world, so that we can be an added layer to the conversation. In no means do I feel like this platform means that the conversation isn't already happening, but I believe in being a value add to continue to be of service and be able to help with the movement, the action, the execution of creating equitable, non-discriminate, and open spaces for women leaders. So here on this show, I seek to educate, I seek to bring awareness, to connect, and to create collaboration and empower women leaders. And guess what? Yep, our allies. So it's not just about women leaders, it's about amplifying the voice. And we can't do that alone, right? Our allies are out there. And so I want to make sure that we're engaging everyone around this important message. So unless you are hiding under a rock, one thing I think about, the latest news and buzz is around the treatment of women in the workplace. There are many names that I could make a list of, unfortunately, to be able to speak to. In short, the conversation around this continued struggle to ensure psychological safety for women in the workplace, to talk about equity in the workplace for women. I know the conversation is heavy in the academia space, but the industry doesn't matter. The need continues to exist. And so here we are, ready for bold conversation on all things women leaders. So I'm so glad to be here with you all. It's February, like I said, and the financial landscape is evolving and it's at an unprecedented pace. So this month we're zeroing in on finance for a crucial reason. Because as we navigate through economic shifts and technological advancements, the role of women in finance has never been more significant. Drop that in the chat. It's never been more significant, the role of women in finance. And so our mission is to add to that conversation tonight, to challenge the norms and to explore new ideas. So put that in the chat to be able to explore new ideas as well. And so before I jump into introducing, I want to know how the audience is tonight. I've got a nice, good handful of people tuned in right now. And I know on the replay, we're going to have even more, but drop in the chat where you're from, and maybe even the space that you lead in. I just want to kind of hear from the audience. What is the space that you lead in? And hopefully we'll just learn more about where you are. So with that, we're not just talking about change, we're building on it. So every episode, every story, every insight serves as a piece of a roadmap. And so when I thought of voices to bring to the table tonight to kind of help with that roadmap, I hit these women leaders up first. I'm not lying. I did not call anybody else you all, okay? You all were the first that came to mind. I was like, I got to have these dynamic women leaders on. I truly believe that you all exemplify what it means to be a woman leader. To be persistent, to be innovative, to be change agents in your respective spaces. And so I know I probably haven't even said that as intimately as I needed to before, but I picked you because I know that you bring all of that and then some, and I wanted to be able to present that to the world through this platform. So thank you all for joining. I'll introduce to you all and reintroduce to some of you all Erika Blair McGrew with Young Wall Street. Hello, Erika. Oh, I love the heart. Come on, heart. I need all the love. Thank you for being here. We have Crystal Epps with First Choice Sales and Marketing Group. Hello, Crystal. How are you?
I am good.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then we have Tamieka Young with Tamieka D. Young, CPA PLLC in the house. Hello, Tamieka.
Hi, everybody.
Awesome, awesome. So I know y'all heard all those letters. Guess what? We got some heavy hitters on this call tonight, right? These ladies are truly experts in this space. So they are all GOATs, the greatest of all time in their space when it comes to finance. And tonight we're going to find out why. So I picked them because I already know why, but we're going to allow you all to learn even more. So hello officially to you ladies. And I always like to kick off with this first question. Every time I do Women Leaders Walk the Talk, the first question is, when you think about leadership in one word, how would you describe it? One word.
I would say servitude.
Servitude, okay.
I'll say resilience, the ability to keep pushing through.
Keep pushing through.
I would say uncomfortable, because in leadership, you have to stay uncomfortable to continue to grow.
Ooh, now that was okay. So look, we gotta jump right into all three of these. Yeah, we'll start with you, Chris, and then we'll rotate back. Krista, tell us why you went with uncomfortable.
I went with uncomfortable because I can remember the progress or the journey it took me to become a leader and how challenging it was, and not really realizing why is this so challenging when everything else was so easy. When I was responsible for myself and I was responsible for just my desk, it was an easy job. But then when I had to manage people, learn people, I continued to move out my comfort zone. And I learned in leadership that you have to continue to move out your comfort zone in order for you to lead and allow other people to follow, for you to educate. And so that way you can bring up more people, because they learn and adapt to things differently. And so you have to adjust. It's not really their responsibility to adjust, it's your responsibility to adjust as a leader. And that's why I say we have to stay uncomfortable.
You didn't tell me you were stepping on toes tonight, because I
I'm
don't like being uncomfortable. Nobody ever said leadership equals discomfort, right? We don't hear that message loud and clear. So you really kind of stuck me hard when you said that, but you're right. Absolutely. We have to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be alone, all that good stuff. So let me come back. And Erika, you said resilience, like to keep pushing. Tell me why is that important? Why did you think of that first for leadership?
Yes, absolutely. So, just being resilient, you got to be able to push through and just overcome anything that comes your way. And so that is, one of the most important traits of a leader. You have to be a problem solver. Resilient leaders are great problem solvers. Whatever type of challenges or opportunities come their way, they have to push through that. They have to be adaptable, when things change and issues change and other things change, they have to be able to push through and handle that, and then make decisions. They have to make decisions under pressure. So all of that requires resilience, just the ability to continue to push through no matter what.
I love it. Pushing through. This is not the easy road. I said we're talking all things bold discussion, right? Because it's easy to talk easy around leadership. It's easy to say, oh, you get to be at the top of the mountain and you get to have these people that are following you, and it's oh so great. But it really is not. And I think if we go into leadership with a more realistic view of it, that it does require the ability to want to keep pushing through and to be able to keep, bouncing back. And so good stuff, good stuff. So let me come on, Tamieka, hit us with servitude. Why did you select servitude?
Well, it's not about you anymore. It's about the people that you're leading. They all have different needs, different wants, different aspirations. So it's really not about you anymore. You have to figure out what is it that you can do to help this person become a better person and help this person do what they need to do. So you have to make it comfortable for them. What does it take for you? What do I have to give you, or what do you need from me in order to do your job and be the best you? So I see it as more of a servitude. I'm helping people versus doing it for just me, because no, at that point, once you're leading, it's no longer about you. It's about the people you're serving.
Absolutely. There's selflessness. And what I also heard you say is I got to make it comfortable for everybody else while I'm uncomfortable, according to Crystal. Isn't that what I heard? We have to make it comfortable. But I mean, that really is, it's about it's about other people. It's not about you when you're in leadership. Yes, we have our own personal goals when we get into leadership, right? There may be some upward mobility, things like that that come with it, lifestyle changes, personal passion and purpose in leading, all that good stuff. But it really isn't about us. And if you could remove yourself from it, because you have to, just to be able to manage. So I love that. Y'all drop in the chat. Let me see in the audience so far. We've got Valerie says she's with Human Resource Management, always listening and learning. Thank you for joining. And then see, we got Annette Gray. She's with Supply Chain Professional. Come on, Supply Chain Professional. That's my previous industry. So hello to our audience. But you all drop in the chat, because one reason I always ask that question at the beginning, that typically I find it to be the thread of what the conversation looks like, even as we talk through some of the other questions. So drop in the chat servitude, drop in the chat resilience, drop in the chat uncomfortable, whichever one of those like resonated loud and clear for you. But we're going to hear more of that as we go throughout. So with that, I want to shut up and I want us to learn more about you all. I said we're talking about women, we're talking about leadership, but we're also talking about finance. And I think what's helpful is to be able to hear succinct stories on your journey. How did you land where you are? And we'll probably hear some of the other questions that I have built into that. But whoever wants to go first, just we want to learn more about you and your journey as a woman, leadership, and finance.
I guess I'll go first.
And go.
Let's see. I kind of like to say I think God and my mom figured out that I was going to deal with money when I was like in kindergarten. And only my mom really knows the backstory behind that. But I've been in finance now I've been doing finance for about 19 years, doing tax preparation and being in budget and financial planning with the local utility. I decided to get my CPA license and studied hard for that. Did a lot of sweat, crying, and tears for that, and decided to open my own firm because now I'm licensed in Mississippi and Tennessee. The journey was not easy by no means. I was a single mom going to school and trying to study and get licensed and do everything to make her comfortable. And so my daughter was my initial reason for trying to do everything, because before her, once I fed me, I was fed. I had her when I was 30. So it was a lot going on with the utility that I worked for. We had a new ERP system, and I was thrown into the supervisor role after being an accountant for maybe a year. And it was just, I'm the type of person, if you give me a challenge, I'm going to rise to the challenge. I hate to be defeated, and I'm very competitive. So I just jumped in, learned all I could learn. And when it came time to learn the new system, I was like, but that's not what I want to do. That has nothing to do with what I agreed to do. But my mom, my little angel behind me, she was like, Tamieka, take advantage of this opportunity. So even though being in finance, doing multiple jobs in budget, in finance, and it wasn't what I signed up to do, it made me a lot stronger mentally as well as professionally. So it's a lot of things I had to deal with. The journey wasn't easy, but it was well worth it.
I love it. And thank you for sharing your why. Like I love when we know how we landed where we landed. Like we know we wanted to be in finance or we wanted that job, but to know our why behind it or what keeps us there going. So I appreciate you sharing it. And then even just speaking to the resilience and being able to be stronger. I never thought about the toughness required to be in the finance. And that's what I heard you mention when you talk about getting stronger, like something made you stronger, right? You had to push through and fight through some stuff. So thank you for sharing that. What about you, Erika, Crystal? Tell us about your journey? How did you land where you are?
I guess I'll go next since you called my name first. So I'm Erika Blair McGrew, and I am the founder of Young Wall Street. We teach high school kids how to build wealth through investing in the stock market. And I got my start in my journey way back when in 2005 as I started my MBA. So I had no background in finance, no background in money. My undergrad degree was actually in electrical engineering. And I was that person who just wanted to solve problems all day. But one of the problems that I always solved for my family was budgets. I was always helping everybody in my family do a budget, get their money straight. And we didn't come from money, right? So I didn't know anything about building wealth. I didn't know anything about investing. All I knew is that I grew up in a single parent home and we just never had enough, or we just always had just enough, right? So there was never an overabundance of anything. And so when I started my MBA program in finance, I started learning about investing and I just fell in love with it. And then after I graduated, Clark Atlanta asked me to come back and teach some of the students how to invest. And they would say, Miss McGrew, how do you make extra money now? Like, what do you do? And I said, oh, well, I invest in the stock market. And they said, well, we never had those conversations at home. And I thought about it. We never had those conversations at home. Wealthy people have conversations at home about building wealth all the time. But where I come from, it was go to school, get a good job, stay on that job, retire, and get a pension. But like we know, pensions are gone now, right? We have to do everything for ourselves. So I would tell some of my students how to invest, and then nobody tell anybody this, but they would come back and say, oh, we took our student loan money and we invested in the stock market. And I would be like, don't tell nobody I told y'all that. And what I realized is that college students had a higher risk tolerance than me. They could go out, take risks, make money. If they fail, they come back and try again, right? So I thought to myself, I said, you know what? Well, why don't I teach that to high school students? I want to start these wealth conversations early because we need to affect generations, right? There is a wealth gap. Everybody knows that a white household makes it more than 10 times as much as a Black household, right? That wealth gap is continuing to widen every year. And it's because people in our culture just don't talk about wealth. So after I started teaching the students at Clark, I said, let me go ahead and get me a job in the investments industry. So in 2008, I was hired on at an institutional investment management firm. And that means that I manage institutional money. So I'm managing, $250 million from Chicago Teachers Fund or from, other pension funds. And I saw nobody who looked like me. Not the color and not the gender. Right? So I said, what is going on? This is why we're not talking about wealth, because we're not in that space. So I said, okay, well, let me transition from the institutional side to the retail side. So I became an associate vice president of financial advisor with Merrill Lynch. And I started helping affluent clients build and grow and sustain their wealth. And again, I saw nobody that looked like me and nobody in my same gender. And I started uncovering secrets to build wealth. Affluent people build wealth differently than we build wealth. And so now I work for a company named Advocacy Wealth Management. I love what I do there because we service clients who just came into wealth because something bad happened to them, like workers' comp or a personal injury, something like that. So these are people who look like me, who had no money before, and now they have millions of dollars and they don't know what to do with it. So I get to educate them, and I also get to manage their portfolios and teach them why it's important to build wealth. So as the other young lady said, my service back to my folks is I'm going to take those same secrets that they're doing over there and I'm going to bring them right back here to you all. Right. So I would say, my journey into being a leader in the financial space is because I really want to help close this wealth gap. And I've done everything and built the credentials around it so that I can share that knowledge that affluent people are using so that our culture can use it as well.
I love it. I love it. Oh, it's a lot to unpack there, because what I first started with was I could appreciate hearing the no finance background, right? Because sometimes we feel like if we haven't done it, if we don't have the experience, especially women, right? I'm not going to apply for that job. I'm not going to pick up and start, in a whole new industry, a whole new career. So I'd love to hear that transition happen. But not only did you make the transition, but then you also took it to another level. It's like, how do I infiltrate almost, or be able to penetrate others to be able to continue that as well. So definitely very, very good story. So I don't know about you all. One thing I did say, and I want you all to put it in the chat, sign up, We gonna sign up. Sign me up because I want to be in that affluent number, right? I want to be able to close that generational gap. And if you all want to put that in the chat, close the generational gap. Close the gender financial gap, even, right? I even hear that as well. So thank you for sharing that. Awesome, awesome. What about you, Crystal? Tell us your journey. Give us good nuggets.
All right. So I knew in high school that I was going to be an accountant. Shout out to my old teacher, Miss Wells. We had like this little packet. It was a business in an envelope. Okay. We had to create our own general ledgers. I had to pay bills. I had to reconcile. I was in heaven. I was like, I could do this. And so I just took that and ran with it and stayed in the field of accounting. And so once I graduated, I started off with temp jobs and I ended up getting a clerical job. And just a representation of a woman leader. I was an AP clerk. I was that AP clerk at this company called Pinnacle for 3 months. And this woman, this Black woman that was a leader in that company, she was a VP over accounting. She was the voice to get me out of that clerical job for me to get my first accountant position because I found it extremely hard to just get an accountant position with a degree. I mean, I didn't have a 4.0 GPA. I wasn't a part of, or the opportunities to get with these private CPA firms just was not happening for me. And so I had to become a temp just so that way I could work. And I was able, once I got in the office, I could prove who I was in my abilities. And she was able to help me and was like, hey, this girl don't need to be here. She need to be an accountant. And she did that. And I owe her for that.
Mm-hmm.
And as I, of course I grew, I think the biggest part or opportunity as a leader is at my current job, as I serve as the role of the VP of Finance. It was really through connection. I was going through a journey of growth and I didn't understand where I was supposed to be because the current job, I had done well, I was getting promoted, but I was having friction with management and I just didn't know how to deal or how to process. And this has happened a couple of times in my life, but I had to release my anxiety and was like, because I was trying to find a job, but couldn't find a job. I was emotional, trying to find a job, crying in interviews. I was like, okay, you ain't getting that job. So it was so overwhelming that I had to relax myself and be like, you know what, I'm just going to accept where I'm at and I'm just going to get organized. And one of my fiance's friend knew the owner was looking for somebody, and I just so happened to get the opportunity to sit in front of this Black business entrepreneur, and he offered me a job, but he offered me more than a job. He offered me a career and an opportunity because I had never been that level of manager or leader. I was interviewing for a director position and he didn't offer me a VP position. So I didn't come for that. I don't think I'm ready for that. And I've been with the company now for going on 9 years, and it has just been phenomenal. It has been an opportunity to be exposed to things that I feel like I would have never been exposed to understand wealth from someone that looks like me. So that way I can start changing my perspective. When I'm dealing with his stuff, I'm like, well, I need to have something like this too. So I mimic what I saw. And that's exposure that most people don't get. And it's harder to work or to, because when it comes to investments, it's that trust factor, that trusting someone with your hard-earned money, which is why most people keep their money in their pocket, underneath a mattress, or just in a bank account that's earning nothing, because it's hard to trust. And so if I'm seeing this wealthy entrepreneur, then I'm thinking, well, he got it here, so I can have it here. And so being able to mimic that and trust that has just been groundbreaking just for me in my journey in leadership. And so I was blessed to be able to take a few exams. I took a lot of them. I got a lot of certifications. So on the CPA side, and then also in the investments, because like Young Wall Street over here, educating our community is something that is hands down needed. We have to in order for us to change our future and what the next generation is going to be able to receive. We have to change it. We don't have any more time. We don't have pension plans. Nobody is preparing for us to live longer. So we have to start taking ownership of that. And I feel like it is our responsibility to do that. And we have to give back in that way.
I love it. I love it. Still so much to unpack. So drop in the chat, because Tamieka, you said it at the top, servitude. And that's what I heard from all three of you all as to what you're doing with it, right? You got into it for one particular reason, but you found even more purpose in being able to make sure that you're giving back, making sure that we're building, making sure that we're helping to create that translation of information so that it's executed and creates the type of legacy that we're looking for. But what I also love, if you all can put in the chat, and I see Townsville, Audrey says representation matters. Loretta said God allows others to see what you don't see. And what I wrote along with that was yes to the voices that speak for us, right? So I heard three different voices that spoke for you, right? I heard for Tamieka, your daughter is your voice that you heard, right? The young people that you're working with, but being able to have other people use their voice for us and then for us to understand, to then use ours for others. That's what I took from all of those stories, which I think is in a nutshell what the entire reason for having a platform, right? Being able to take your stories, take your insight, and be able to create transformation beyond just this moment that we're talking about. So thank y'all for sharing that. If y'all got questions in the chat, y'all please drop that in there. Thank you everybody for coming in. You're Women Leaders Walk the Talk. And let me see, Mary said, thank God for your leadership, ladies. So I'm telling y'all, the chat, we're feeling it. We're all feeling it. So in there, we heard barriers. We heard, how to overcome things. But what has been your most proud moments? Like, go ahead, brag. We want to know what has been your proudest moment, so that we can celebrate with you and know the wins that we can intentionally create for ourselves. So yeah, what are some most proud moments? I know it's a long list.
I'll go. So, like I said, I teach high school kids how to build wealth through investing. And we have a summer program here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a 2-week summer boot camp where the kids are just thrown into the world of Wall Street. They learn how to analyze stocks like a Wall Street analyst so they can tell their parents what stocks they should buy, what stocks they should stay away from. And they also learn how to options trade. So one thing that I'm very, very proud of is that I have at least 30 of my students who have worked with their family to build their own portfolios. So what does that mean? That means that they have opened a brokerage account, they have funded that brokerage account, and they have started investing in stocks or exchange traded funds. Because I always tell them, it's not about the money, it's about the mindset. And it's about getting in the habit of investing. With other cultures, with people who are building wealth, investing is not an option. It is just something that you do. So whether that's $10 a month, whether that's $50 a month, whether that's $500 a month, there is no amount that's not enough. You just need to invest early and invest often. I'm also proud that we formed a partnership with Regions Bank. And Regions Bank, for anyone who goes through the Young Wall Street program, they finish and they continue trading, Regions Bank will give them $450 into their own brokerage account. So I'm excited about that partnership. And I'm just excited about the things that we're doing here in Memphis to help close that wealth gap and help start the affluence in the African American community.
Ooh, I love it. Not about the money, but about the mindset. And that was strong too. I'm like, what? No, but yes, I love it. I love it. That ought to be a tagline somewhere. Not about the money, it's about the mindset. I love it. What about you, Tamieka, Crystal?
Well, I think in the place that I am in now, I think my biggest accomplishment is my transformation as a leader. To be in this position as a female, to have to make, we discussed making hard decisions, having to sit in leadership rooms or board rooms, and typically I'm seating among men and mainly white men, with the exception of my boss. And so I think that my development to find my voice, to be confident in it, and to also, as I get older, to not sweat the small stuff and to be able to push past um, people that, interpreting things as negative energy, or not receiving people's communication as well as possible, and being able to move past that, and just stay focused on the agenda and where we are, what's the ultimate goal. And so I just think that I'm in a space of transformation in leadership. And I think that to have good leaders, and it's so important to have good leaders and good female leaders, because female leaders get bad raps, because it doesn't always work out. I know just from personal experience. And so to me, it's just very important to be a great female leader in this industry. And that's, at this moment, that's my proudest.
I love it. I love it. And you spoke on a lot, but it is so absolutely important to make sure that we're showing up as strong as possible. And you're making me think about another question, but I'm gonna hold on to it because I want to hear from Tamieka. What's been your proudest moment?
Mine is probably kind of like along the lines of Crystal. I've suffered originally from imposter syndrome. So I'm very, very proud that I have gotten over that, or I'm more over it than I was before. And I think at one time I thought, because things became so easy to me, that they weren't valuable. So I'm learning my value as well as getting over the imposter syndrome. I'm realizing that I'm just as smart. I'm looking at what I'm doing and all the responsibilities that I'm handling. And I don't know if it's because as a Black woman, we just tend to do so much, and it just comes so natural to do so much. You just don't you just take for granted that you're doing so much. You don't give it another thought. But one day I actually did sit down and say, you're running this department. Everybody's coming to you for things that you are responsible for, and things you are not responsible for, because they know you can get it done. So if they see the value in you, how is it that you don't see the value that you bring? So I had to have a real talk. I think 50 was a revelation age for me. I had to have a talk with myself, and that was my proudest moment, realizing, Tamieka, you do have what it takes, and you need to, you know, just keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing it. So that's my proudest moment.
I love it. I love it. A lot of times we forget that just getting over ourselves is, and when I say over ourselves, like the hurdles that we create or that exist for us emotionally, on being able, are we able to move forward? I love that you were willing to be vulnerable and share that that was something for you to get past or to continue to work through, because we as women leaders do have to process through that, right? We're in those environments where it's very domineering and male, very domineering in opposite nationalities, races, all of that. So, how do we make sure we can still show up as ourselves and not shrink and be confident and all of that? So thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about the question you made me think about, Crystal, was community, right? Like, how do we support ourselves? Like, all of you sound like strong women individually, right? And we talked about other voices, but what does your community look like? Do you have like a community of finance women that, kind of support you? Is there a finance cult out there I don't know about? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But, like, what helps sustain you in your industry? What does your community look like for, support and sustainability?
I think that's an excellent question. And that is an area in which I feel as if I can say that I'm weak in, because networking, I'm an introvert. It takes a lot for me to, introduce myself or to develop new relationships. If it's not, if I guess if you're waiting on me to initiate it, it's not going to happen. So, I think that there's a lot more opportunities to create that kind of community, especially just centered around finance. And so my objective or goal for 2024 is, as I connect, I stay open to opportunities like this. I'm writing down all these young ladies' names because I need to stay in contact so that way I can build a network or community, because it is often that I get asked, or in a community, it's like, well, do you have anybody else you can ask? And so I've been able to pick up maybe one or two people, just, some sorority sisters that is like, oh, okay, she's cool. We can connect. She does the same thing I do. We're calling about 1099s. The deadline was today. We was able to finish our 1099s. And so I just think personally for me, my community has not always been big. And that is a goal of mine, to be able to build a finance community of financial leaders, women that are in these leadership roles that's like mine. Because I need to connect. I got a lot of questions that I would like to be able to discuss with someone that I know will have similar experience as I.
I love it. I love it. Drop in the chat, connect. And what I really love is that you realize the need to build, right? Sometimes we don't realize, okay, we need to reevaluate our community, right? We may need to do some rebuilding, restructuring. So no, thank you for that. So drop in the chat, connect. And it sounds like it's going to be a trio of something happening after this. So I can't wait to hear about it. Can't wait to hear about it. All right. What about Tamieka, Erika? What y'all got?
Well, I did realize that my community needed to grow too. So I plan on, I'm looking at towards retirement. So, and doing the firm full time. So how do people know I'm doing it if I'm not out there letting them know I do it? So one of the things I did last week was volunteer with the chamber in Olive Branch to assist young kids with disabilities, helping them learn different job skills. So while I was there teaching them, but it was my firm there getting the exposure that it needs. Then I also, there's a financial advisor with Edward Jones that I work with, who actually reached out to me. And he said, you seem like a very competent person. Can we connect? And we had lunch, and we've now connected, and he's sending me clients. Then there's being a member of various accounting organizations. There was one young lady in Vicksburg, Mississippi, who reached out to me about her opportunity. And she was partners with a lady in Alabama. And so she said, well, really what it was, I was looking for a Black female CPA that we could network with. They're not CPAs, but they may need some CPA services. So my network is growing, but it's not just with finance people. I've also found the advantage of having a network of other leaders who may not be in finance. There's one in particular, her name is Lachelle Vaughn. She's the VP of our information technology. Connecting with her and getting to really know her, not just as a VP, but as a person herself, and getting advice and information from her has been really advantageous too. So I'm growing my community, but I've also learned that I need more than just the finance community. I need some other community leaders in that circle too.
So you need diverse collaborations, diverse network, and I love it. So y'all drop in the chat, collaborate. It's the reason I'm saying these, by the way. Connect, collaborate. I love it. I love it. What about you, Erika? Oh, I just got chill bumps with y'all. Y'all playing tonight. Go ahead. This is good.
I mean, I agree with Tamieka and Crystal. My network is very, very small with women in the financial or wealth management arena. One organization that does connect me with other people in this space is the National Association of Securities Professionals. It is an organization that promotes institutional investment management and people in that space. And I do know that there are some other organizations for women in finance, but I need to do a better job in that area in building up a community. But when I think about my mentors in the wealth management space is usually men, right? It's usually men who've been in the space longer. They have a little bit more experience and expertise. And those are the people that I kind of go to get my knowledge. And when I need understanding on something, I go to them.
I love it. I love it. And it's all about strategy. I heard like, and I think sometimes we can loosely use the word strategy, but it really is an intentional approach to planning how you're going to move yourself forward, right? And it includes people. It includes them being resources, whether they're being the voice in the room for you or just being their voice in your ear to be like, now, that move right there, or sis, it's time for us to do X, Y, Z, or how about we get together and work on this? So I love it. Let me see in the chat. And I just want to say, while y'all are giving out association names and events and places to connect with, so is our group in the chat. So we got NABA, NABA, Memphis is a great resource. James Financial Services, Raymond James. Look, Crystal, looks like somebody's picking you up. You can always join Jewel, Renee. Like there's network in the chat. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to go with this one right here because we're going to make this one more of a practical question before we get ready to go into our next section. But this has been such a robust conversation. And we really could probably have maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more of these sessions because finance is so dynamic and complex. But here's a practical question. So I want to start budgeting. It's January. What's one tip in January that I should be paying attention to? And maybe it's not, let me scratch the budgeting. What's a tip that I should be paying attention to? Well, it's February 1st, but you get what I'm saying. It's the top of the year. I still got time. I still got 11 months, but what should I be doing today to make 2024 look a little brighter for me financially?
I am going to say, it's really hard to say one tip because budgeting involves a lot. And so, and it's not too late. So remove the ideal that you have to start a budget at a particular time. You need to start a budget when you are ready to sit down and get real with your finances. And be educated about your finances. It's really hard to get the motivation to budget when you're not committed or you're educated to understand like, okay, that I'm doing something wrong. But I think the biggest thing to do is go back and look and see what you spent in January and how you spent it. If that don't convince you, then I don't know what
I
will.
really want to do that, but that's a good approach, but you're right. I'm gonna make a note to go back and just start. I love it. We don't have to have a certain date. It doesn't have to be January 1. It doesn't have to be second quarter. Like if today something is out of whack and you might need to take and you got time and you're committed to it, to your point. So I love that. All right. So I got my notes. Start today, not tomorrow. On whatever it is their goal is financially. Okay. What's my next nugget? Tamieka, Erika?
Well,
And
I mean, I have this saying, effective immediately, right? I think that there are some things that we just need to do effective immediately. And I used to be a person who budgeted, like accountants, putting everything in a ledger. And when I talk to my friends who are not in the finance world, budget is too restrictive for them. They don't want to hear the word budget. They don't want to be restricted on their money, right? And so what I tell them, well, effective immediately, I need you to know, are you working for your money or is your money working for you? So how do you figure that out? I just need you to look at what you're spending. Just like Crystal said, I need you to know what's coming in and I need you to know what's going out. And one thing that I did learn from working with wealthy people is that they don't budget. They allocate, right? Instead of budgeting, they allocate money to different things. Okay, they may say 50% of my money is going to bills. 10% of my money is I'm going to blow it every month, no matter what. 10% is going to go to savings. So they allocate. And so what I've done is I've started teaching my friends who are usually people, who make a lot of money, but they have no idea what's going on with it. So I'm just teaching them how to allocate. Don't worry about a budget. Don't worry about it. Try to track every little bit of your spending. I want you to put 50% here. I want you to put 10% here. And when that money is gone from that bucket, guess what? You're done. And if something didn't get paid out of that bucket, guess what? You need to get rid of it. So that's easy. So I always tell my friends effective and immediately, I need you to see who's working for who. You working for your money, or is your money working for you? And let's get these allocations together.
So I can't just do a carry forward because I didn't budget enough money like at the end of the fiscal year. I can't do that. You all dropping the chat. Look like Terica already ahead. Effective immediately. Drop it in the chat for my group. You cannot carry forward is what Erika just told us.
Kristen, if it doesn't fit, you've got to get rid of it. Period.
Man, shots fired. Y'all didn't tell us that's what y'all were doing tonight. Shots fired. I love it. But even on your mind shift, you know, you talked about mind shift. Like when I hear the word budget, it speaks way different, the functionality, but it mentally speaks different than when I say allocate. Allocate actually makes me feel more free. When I hear it, there's a freedom to it and it sounds more manageable than budget. So maybe sometimes it's just the wording and the language even in our mentality, but functionally I know there's a difference too, but it just emotionally made me feel better. So yeah, I'm allocating from here on out, okay?
Allocate, honey, allocate, effective immediately.
Effective immediately. I love it. I love it. All right. Did I get it? Tamieka, it's you now, right?
Let's see, for me, I would say do a financial mental check. And it kind of ties into what both Crystal and Erika was saying. You have to kind of think about, why do I spend the way I spend? So are you spending because maybe you didn't have a lot when you were younger? So now you got it, you're going to just spend it all? Are you spending because you're upset and you want a pair of new shoes or a new purse to make you feel better? But later on you get home, you regret that you spent all the money that you spent. So I would say take a financial mental check of why you handle your money the way that you do. Are there emotional drivers? Is there something that you really need to do? Is it just that you weren't taught? Like me, I mean, money wasn't a big discussion in my household, but you do have to change the way that you see money and your mindset about money in order to save it. I like to say it's not really how much you make, it's how much you save. It's how much you can keep. Not really, because the more you make, the more you're going to spend.
Yeah.
So I would just say take a financial mental check of why you spend money the way you do.
I love it because it really is emotional, right? Or it's mental. It's what is our why? But I didn't even think about, yeah, because mama used to take me to the store and we used to always go on Sundays to go, so it becomes a habit. And it's why am I really still going to get that dress other than I just want that new dress. But I love that it's having that mental shift. So mental check, put that in the chat. Mental check is what we want to take away. So I feel.
And Krista, you know what else? If you just think about when you go shopping and you hear all this music in the store or everything smells good. They're playing on your senses and playing on your experiences that you've had so that you can spend money and do different things. So that's why I say keep it all in mind, because all those little things that's making it seem like it's fun or you just getting all this excitement from it, they're tapping into your emotions and your mental state to get you to spend that money. So that's something to keep in mind.
Psychological, it's a trap. Psychological, it's a trap. I love it. And so with that, like, this has been amazing. I want to say I absolutely feel empowered. So three of the words that I wanted to make sure we take away from us, that part of the reason we do Women Leaders Walk the Talk is to be able to create that connection, to be able to create that collaboration, and to make sure that we are empowering each other as we continue to move forward on our journeys of leadership as women leaders, but also our allies. We want you all to be able to be impacted as well, to help us along as we continue to try to close this gap and to minimize inequities and to reduce and get rid of discriminatory environments and things like that. So, all right, that's enough for all the heavy stuff. We're almost close to 8 o'clock. I always like to play this or that. I don't know if you watch this or that, but I like to play this or that every time I do Women Leaders Walk the Talk. And it's very simple. I give you a this and I give you a that, and you tell me which one you're going with. So it's just for a little fun for us to get to know you a little bit outside of finance. So here is a trial run. Okay. Books or movies? And audience, y'all play along too. Books or movies?
Movies.
Movies.
And movies.
We got 3 movies. Okay, we got 3 movies, and I'm gonna go with movies too, because I'm visual. I don't like to pretend like I'm seeing it. I want to actually see it. Okay, so morning routine or night owl habits.
Morning routine.
Both.
Oh, oh,
Depends on the day of the week, on what I gotta do. I'm a night owl. Like if I can, I will be up late doing something. But if I have to, I will get up. So I'm a lean on the night owl side. All right. Tea or coffee? Tea or coffee?
coffee.
Coffee.
Tea.
Okay. And I'm going with my Coke. But tea or coffee. So we got 2 coffees and a tea. All right. City life or countryside?
Countryside.
Yeah. Both.
Both?
Yeah, because I live in the country, but I work in the city. So both.
Ride in and then get away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both. Can I just have a city home and a country home too?
Yeah, you can have both. You know,
You do need
I
both.
those kind of rules around it, right? You can have both. All right, handwritten notes or digital reminders.
Handwritten notes.
Handwritten
Digital
notes.
reminders.
Okay, I'm a both girl, but I do have a stack of to-do lists on my sticky notes. I love them by my desk, but I do have both going on. All right, physical books or ebooks.
Physical.
Audible.
Can I say I love that consistency because at the top you clearly said movies, so that goes along with the Audible as well. Absolutely. Oh, let me see in the chat. Let me throw a couple of these out. Let me see. We got night owl habits on a couple. We got tea mainly on my coffee and tea. And we got somebody put suburbs and we got the country. So it looks like we got a good blend so far. So I'm gonna come back to those. We got just a few more. Cooking at home or dining out? What we doing?
Cooking at home.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, I really would like to say both because I really enjoy cooking at home, but I do also enjoy dining out, like when we leave the house and dine out, not to take,
Now, when I said cooking at home, that didn't mean I was going to cook. That just means that there was going to be cooking at home.
Oh, you the one that find that penny in the stack that we looking for because you finding all the gray. You were like, you did not say I had to cook at home. I love it. As long as I get an invitation, whether we going out or in, I'm good. I'm good. All right, all right. So classic music or modern hits?
Martin hits.
Modern hits.
Modern hits.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with modern hits too. Let me see. We got let me see. Mostly everybody in here is cooking at home. So I want all the invites when y'all make your dinners. We need invites. Team sports or solo exercise?
Team sports.
Okay.
Solo exercise.
Y'all like don't put me on the team. Solo exercise.
Mm-mm.
I love it. Let me see. I'm just reading a couple more. We got modern hits that are showing up a couple times, and then dining out, but I really need to cook at home. It's healthier, but realistically, dining out is what Zumba with Crystal gave us. And Terica said solo exercise. So yeah, I'm gonna go with solo exercise. I don't need that kind of accountability at all. All right. Last one. If we're gonna do a vacation, are we doing adventure or relaxation?
Relaxation.
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 Okay.
Mhm.
And that falls in line with my solo exercise too, because solo seemed a little more low key. And I'm gonna go with relaxation too, because I don't need a whole lot of activity like that. So that was this or that. Thank y'all for playing my game. That's my crowd too. Like that's my sound effects that I'm making. But no, thank y'all for playing this or that. So this has been amazing. We are almost at time. I have really, really enjoyed this. You all just don't know. You all have really made the first 2024 Women Leaders Walk the Talk everything I could have imagined and then some. And just from the chat, I can tell that the audience got what they came for, or maybe they got more, right? Because sometimes you just don't know exactly, but you all layered it on. So with that, I know how to contact. These are all my friends. These are all my besties on here, audience. These are all my besties. But I can share. My mom did teach me how to share. And so I want to make sure that you all can connect and that we can support you all further than just this platform. So if you all could share more about your organization. How can we connect with you? Things like that, because I want to make sure that there's connection, collaboration, and empowerment happening beyond now. So whoever wants to jump in.
Yeah, I'll go first. Well, the name of my firm is Tamieka Young, CPA PLLC, and we work with individuals and businesses both to impact lives financially. That could look like they can look different for different people. Some people may be for taxes, some people may be for budgeting, some people may be for financial planning. But you can check out our website at www.tdytnms.org, and you can or shoot me a personal email at jfcllc@outlook.com. You can also do an email through the website as well.
And say the website one more time.
It's www.tdycpa. I'm sorry, I left that part out. tdycpa tnms.org.
I got it. .org. All right. So you all know how to get in touch with Tamieka. All right. What about Krista or Erika? How can we get you on? What do we need to be paying attention to?
Well,
Okay, Crystal.
I know it's so when you're on Zoom, it's like who wants to go? So you can follow me on Instagram, Epps 007. I do assist in budgeting, financial coaching, investments. And so my contact information, you can reach me at crystal.epps@icloud.com. And yeah, just that's it.
All right, y'all keep checking these comments. You said iCloud.com?
Yes.
All right, we in there, so y'all can make sure you get in touch with Krista. And last but not least, come on, Miss Erika, Wall Street, Young Wall Street.
Well, I got a lot of ways y'all can get in touch with me,
Come
okay? So, so if you're interested in Young Wall Street for high school kids in the Memphis area, then you want to go to the website www.youngwallstreet.org. It's a 2-week summer boot camp. It's totally subsidized by a sponsor. Kids don't have to pay anything. It's held at the University of Memphis, and all the kids have to do is show up. They'll learn how to invest. They'll learn how to build wealth. They'll learn how to trade options or whatever strategy I think is hot at the time. They will learn how to do that, and they will share it with their families so that we can create a ripple effect in the community. So that's one place, www.youngwallstreet.org. If you want to learn how to build wealth from a very fundamental level, for women, I teach courses on the Wealth University platform. It is a platform owned and operated by Dr. Lynn Richardson and MC Light. They have a whole Wealth University. So if you go to Wealth University, Dr. Lynn Richardson, then you can see all the courses that I offer there for Black women. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that Dr. Lynn Richardson has been one of my greatest mentors in the financial services area. You can find her on Good Morning America, Steve Harvey, all that good stuff. So shout out to Dr. Lynn Richardson for giving me all of my knowledge. And then finally, you can follow me on Instagram at I am Erika Blair. I do a news show bi-weekly on Scripps News where I give out free tidbits about all things finance, all things investing. And so I usually put that content on Instagram, and that's at I am Erika Blair. And I have something special for you guys. I am coming out with a course named Effective Immediately. It's going to tell you everything you need to get your financial house in order effective immediately. And I'll give you all a special treat if you tell me that you attended the Greater You Leadership Series. And so when I say effective immediately, we're going to talk about those allocations instead of budgets. We're going to talk about protecting your money. We're going to talk about growing your money from a very fundamental level. And I don't care if you don't have a $5 to invest. I'm going to get you started investing effective immediately. So follow me on I am Erika Blair on Instagram, and I'll be announcing information about that real soon.
I love it. I love it.
Kristen.
Yeah, come on.
Kristen.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I don't go to my website often, so I gave you the wrong URL.
Okay, no, come on.
So it's tdytnms.com.
tdytms.com.
like Tennessee, Mississippi, TNMS.
Gotcha. Yes, ma'am. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This was so great. Like y'all gave us, and I don't know if y'all were listening. I just want to make sure I plugged it again. Erika said that the kids get to go for free. Okay. We're always looking for opportunities. Summer will be here before we know it. The all the camps and everything are going to fill up around March. So go ahead and start planning and get in on this. So I think that's a great opportunity. And then take advantage of the services that these ladies are offering, all three of them. And I promise you, I don't bring whack people on here, just so you know. Like when I source and when I look for talent and when I really think about women who are going to be impactful and have the integrity and all of the things that I believe in, these ladies meet the mark. So I'm so glad you all are on here. And so I'm going to give my spiel to my audience. You all have been like absolutely amazing. I must say, I'm so grateful for all of you all sharing with us tonight and choosing to be here, because you could have been doing anything else on a Wednesday night. It is hump day, but you all chose to be here with us on the last day of January. And with that, if you want to see more of what we do with the Greater You Leadership series, which is actually the parent company for Women Leaders Walk the Talk, please follow us at www.thegreateryouleadership.com. Join our Facebook page at Women Leaders Walk the Talk to be able to learn more about what we do in this community, as well as when you follow all of our social media at The Greater You Leadership, you'll learn all about our courses and different events that we're having to always keep amplifying and bringing the importance and awareness of leadership, and in this space, women leaders. So this has been awesome. Thank you all. There's a big announcement happening, so please go follow the page. It's coming soon. I don't want to give it away here, but just, giving you all a teaser. If you all want to know what's going on, go ahead and follow those pages. But if you all could stay on for a second, and just to my audience, you all have been great. Effective immediately. Go be great, greater. And other than that, you all have a great one. And I always like to say, let's lead. All right. Y'all have a good one.